Perfect. So thank you, everybody. Thanks, Walter, for intro, and it's always a pleasure to be here and presenting and showing a little bit about what's going on and how do we see the things moving forward. But to discuss briefly about the what are the kind of the trends and what direction are we going with the solutions. Obviously, it starts. Obviously, we start with the let's say connected and technology. So because that allows more and more devices to become more connected and more affordable, and driving the market growth as well. So the connected devices growth is big. How we see it. Obviously, the big buildings are one of the biggest consumers of energy as well. And CO2 emissions. So how do we actually allow data? How do we allow the optimized energy consumption in many ways? It obviously allows to optimize the operations, predict the future trends, creating new business opportunities. And so we can make the building smarter by building smarter buildings in overnight with our solutions. So not to mention that how this allows building to become more empathic as well. And one of the things that what is obviously a big trend has been in a big trend is obviously this kind of a change of way we work. Activity-based working is sure a big thing is that moving forward, and workplace management and rapidly growing. So this is how we see that and expecting the revenue actually to surpass almost 2 billion in 2026. But then, if you're seeing that how are the different working spaces and tasks, let's start with that. Obviously, the locations and environments. There are different working environments. They are probably one of the most apparent changes that is noticed. Obviously, spaces can be either new locations or existing spaces. Spaces and locations need to work for people, for the tasks they perform during the day. What kind of environments are needed? For example, for online meetings, are you presenting or just listening into the meeting? And what about the tasks? That requires focus, or projects where you have different stakeholders? All this might need to be a different based on working cultures. So not to mention commute, so proximity to residential neighborhoods and access to the public transportation. I'm sure during the pandemic, a lot of people have realized how much time they use for commute on a daily basis. And how many days personnel will be back in the office? Are everyone having team meetings on Mondays and Fridays? Or is that something that is distributed evenly throughout the week? There was a study made by Hassel showing the different options for workplaces. Shift to working from home or remote during the pandemic time. People are starting to question whether they should actually return to the office or remotely, or find the hybrid workplace model in the middle. It is an important decision because it impacts the design of the workplace, but beyond that, it also implications for how companies manage the employees and how they structure their business during the return of the office. There is a need to provide different options for people. And if you're looking at the findings, what they are, so obviously that is the old ways that as it was, employees return to the office, resume their regular 9-to-5 routine, or then kind of a turbocharged activity-based working, with employees spending more time working from home. They no longer need assigned desks. This kind of a clubhouse where employees do their collaboration work in the office and focus work in some other spaces. The hub and spoke with the where you don't need to kind of travel or commute to the large offices in the city center or main location where the company headquarters might be. So employees work from smaller satellite offices closer to where they live. And obviously then the no office, which is totally where employees work from home or anywhere where they like to. And these kind of different areas can exist also in the offices and campuses as well. So fixed desks could be kind of as it was, or kind of a new ways of and new kind of areas where you have areas for different tasks, reservable rooms or desks, areas for teams, sit and use desks for or phone booths, common areas such as cafeterias, or virtual areas for people working remotely. So all these kind of a different kind of areas are also inside of the building, inside of the offices. But how about then the connected buildings and smart city environments? What kind of information is already collected in the buildings? Most of the solutions are focusing on the buildings efficiency, but what about the building users? As we can see from this study that was made already 2014 and report, most of the business operation costs are personnel. Not that much anymore of the building related costs such as utilities. Focusing on the efforts on improving the staff and personnel costs can improve easier as the building optimization is already looked after. So data, and obviously the data generated by the users can be used for further analytics and can be used for building management systems. There's a much more what needs to be taken into account when talking about smart cities, as the buildings are just part of it. But that being said, since they're a big part of it, how about the getting into the building, or what is the need for go there, and what kind of tools you have to support this? Sustainability plays a big role in a smart city, and how to improve eco-friendliness, economy, and quality of life. But then when we're talking about connected buildings, people are looking for better conditions such as air quality, for example, outdoor spaces, natural air, private terraces, shared rooftops, and so forth. More natural and nature in the office, more natural light and lighting solutions can provide your biological circadian rhythm with biocentric lights. They can provide you better rhythm, vitality, and capacity. Offices are now continually cleaned and disinfected for safe environments. Building automation updates their ventilation, automate lighting and HVAC systems. Optimize your energy and HVAC with the people counters, for example. All this will improve the employee satisfaction, reduce the building operation cost, and business environment impact. But what about the better facilities? Living at working with the building amenities like bike rooms, showers, fitness, and food halls. Bringing back to the work and to get cooperation could be a challenge if there are no facilities or solutions to support this. Obviously, empathic experience, kind of a building a community and attract the talent and keep the talent, obviously, is a big part. And that's kind of where we are coming to this empathic experience. So the original function, obviously, as we know, for the building has been a shelter for us for the elements. But when the modern buildings are being to integrated technology that goes beyond keeping us warm and dry, how can a building become a sensitive person feelings, emotions, or needs? That's a good question. And what is the exactly difference that empathic building from regular smart buildings? How do you achieve the best possible end user experience instead of focusing on creating a reports and optimization of facility management costs, or providing information on the building structure? Electrical part of HVAC system solution needs to focus on the end user, the tenant. So do you know what the end users are looking for, and what kind of what are the core reasons for the behaviors and needs? Obviously, you need reliable data to back all this up and understanding the analyze it. It could be from finding right place to work with optimal temperature or lighting, for your knowing what desks have been occupied and what has been cleaned. So, and kind of for the workplace, why to return to the workplace is obviously kind of the main things are collaborations, bonding, and social interaction with colleagues and peers. But for some, the reason could be as simple as the home is just not for me. It's due to the constant microwave food or bad Wi-Fi or something else. There are all individual reasons and variants. Sometimes, for example, for myself, I just need to wear grown-up clothes and get out. So whatever fits you. And what are the key elements for attracting people back to the office? It requires solution that supports multiple different working habits. And the key elements, what we have identified is obviously employee experience, face-to-face collaboration, trusting the workplace, and readjusting the spaces, and obviously virtual, because not everybody will be in the office anyway. So people will be still working remotely and having different kind of solutions. But let's go dive a little bit more detailed into Empathic Building, Haltian's Empathic Building solution. So what we do is that we build a digital twin easily and fast. It's fully multi-tenant solution that enables quick updates with new features to be implemented and pushed to the all sites. It's relatively easy to deploy and easy to maintain. So what we only need is drawings of the buildings, so floor plans, PDFs, JPEGs, DVG files, whatever is preferred. And our main mission is to provide superb end user experience that helps employees in their daily routines. Not by solving one big issue, but rather 20 smaller things for day to go by easier and smoother. So obviously the end user experience is a key to providing solutions such as this. And software, since it's software only, the easiest way to start is a really rapid rollout, connecting the digital twin to different kind of systems, your Exchange or UX to book spaces. It's just very fast and easy to deploy. It leverages existing tools, so you can, for example, have wayfindings and MS Teams, Microsoft Teams integrations integrate there, having a manual shared locations and so forth. But at the same time, you obviously there's a way to add hardware later on the later stage for desk sensors, real-time indoor positioning, room booking panels, and so forth, access controls, smart locks, whatever is required. And by providing this kind of a easy to use and easy interface, which is really intuitive to use, it's software. The software was created by the user design experts, not real estate experts. So that's kind of making gamification and easier to use. Different layers can be added based on the required features and functionalities, from showing a desk to conditions and all the way to the service tickets. So providing these kind of different layers, showing the conditions, like here right now, showing the CO2 levels and information for the end users. So super easy and easy to use and deploy. There are obviously certain expectations from the employees. Desk and coffee may not cut it anymore, but that there's a need to improve employee experience. Obviously, providing different kind of choices and solving problems. As I showed earlier, the people as they are, 90% of the cost roughly. So having this kind of a super easy to use solutions helps them to improve. There are key findings that matter for people. For example, saving time with canteen lines or restaurant lines, when you know that real time when there's when there's a queue. Providing more choices for spaces with activity-based working, such as focus, collaboration, or quiet areas. Really needs to be easy to use. So all web app in all screens, easy to find, ad hoc spaces, help people to be healthier and feel safer. And what we have seen is that the face-to-face collaboration is a productivity is kind of really the one key for productivity on today's world. Get different people to meet and mingle and break working silos. Innovation really happens at the home. So I mean, if you think about it, so parking spaces, coffee machines, that's where people are bumping into each other. So workplace has an important role in creating these kind of sparks. Many companies think that they can get the people back to the office voluntarily, but I mean, if you are returning back to the same way to work, it might not be the key. So obviously, face-to-face collaboration, we have experienced it during these online times, that working from home, that it might take longer time to schedule a meeting than the actual meeting takes place. All these casual collisions and bumping to colleagues has been difficult, but at the same time, when you are returning to the office, do you have tools to support to find your colleagues and finding the different teams and bumping to each other? Creating and providing profiles with personal details or even avatars encourage people to see where their colleagues can find them. So providing this kind of a working mode, that what is the status of when are you working in the office, and providing this kind of information helps people to bond and collaborate much more easier. So creating trust for the environment. As I said, for example, safe air is one of the things that people are looking for. Finding the meeting room with the freshest air. Reserve the meeting room with chosen to be the fresh. As I say, and if you are thinking about this kind of a brain level performance or having this CO2, high CO2 levels, it obviously loses, you are losing cognitive thinking. So this obviously needs to be visualized because, for example, for myself, 400 ppm doesn't say too much, but obviously colors and things can be tell easily what is the leverage. And here's a study that even actually shows that what is the reducing with the higher CO2 levels, what is your brain kind of a functioning, and how does it say? Safe surfaces, so utilizing this kind of on-demand cleaning, utilizing asset cleaning with the database cleaning, transparency for cleaners, customers, so you can actually see from the digital twin where the clean desks are, show the different rates of dispensers from soaps to hand towels to trash bins. So obviously improving this from the cleaning's perspective. So no need to actually clean the whole office if there's been only 20% of people being in the office, or used only half of the desks. Showing, as I said, showing these kind of a different levels of soap dispensers or trash bins, and showing also the desks that have been used. Red meaning busy, purple, it's been used today, but it's not being cleaned. So easy to create this kind of a layers for different use cases. Obviously, adjusting the office to the new environment is that showing the desk and room statuses. Reserve desk only by sitting, so no need to actually make any reservations with the sensors. So just actually go in and start using it, or you can book a desk through the user interface, directly integrated to your different calendar systems, or making the reservation from a touch screen, reserving easily a meeting room, and having this kind of a removing or adding desks virtually, so you can actually encourage people to spread out. So actually making some desks not reservable to help them to actually spread out if this kind of a, let's say, new pandemic is starting to rise. And then obviously this kind of a promoting different kind of a information, so how to find places, or promoting social distancing and say that, okay, we should actually only use one ways. This is really super simple with this kind of a digital twins to create and remove and add different kind of things really fast and simply. And then reports, having this kind of a easy to see desk utilization, room utilization, heat maps, service requests, and feedback obviously is super important at this point. But when we are talking about only virtual spaces as well, creating these kind of a different environments for people who are working from home to join in and jumping in on the virtual coffee setups, and seeing where you have, for example, continuous Teams link where people can just join. So you're actually checking in yourself remotely into this kind of a virtual coffee machine, and find people and link in on those with your colleagues and customers. So this is just simple thing and really quick overview of what we've been doing and what we've been doing since 2012. So company's been around and right now actually working in a global scale, providing solutions for global customers, and obviously increasing this our presence globally. But if you have any additional questions or more questions, I'm happy to continue the discussions, and you can find me on LinkedIn, or just send me an email or reach me by phone. Happy to discuss and continue the discussions and see that what could be the easier way and fast way to deploy these kind of a digital solutions for different locations and places. But that's in brief. I think I almost managed my 20 minutes or maybe a little bit over, but I understood that we have some times for questions and maybe some discussion with Walter as well. So
Yeah, that was amazing. Thank you very much, Juuso. Well, I have one question for you.
Yep.
If that's okay.
Obviously, I mean, you are the host, so do I have options? No.
No options here. So I want to ask you a question. There is a lot happening right now in the smart building space. And people ask us always the question, where is the real value? Because it costs some money to put the sensors in, to select the data platform, to get the data out of it. So where is the real value? Do you have some value cases?
Yeah, I mean, what we have seen is that obviously that this kind of bigger organizations, let's say when we are talking about especially this kind of let's say consultancy and brain level discussions, or brain companies that are doing a lot of consulting work. Obviously, the employee experience is a key factor to keep those people in place, because what we are seeing is that they understand the value that the employee experience can bring to these guys, and bring to the company, and then leveraging the data that is generated by the users, to leverage that in different kind of let's say building automations or PropTech solutions. So that's a big value, because it makes no sense from how I see it, is that creating these kind of a silo solutions, that you have a specific solution to, for example, for booking, or just for occupancy, or just for visitor counting. So having this kind of a employee and data driven, and data that is generated by the users to utilize that as efficiently as possible.
Yeah, so it's the war on talent.
Yes.
The war on talent to really attract and to keep the talent with the company, and I think that's really important.
It is.
Yeah.
And obviously, I mean, we know that as I showed at the study, which was already made back in 2014, that if we think about the building and let's say utilization and energy consumption and so forth, has been already kind of a let's say it's been a long time that people have been optimizing the facilities, but then actually taking that the users and the end users and the tenants into this place will obviously is kind of the next big
step.
Yeah, hopefully that we understand that the buildings are made for people.
And not only to reduce energy consumption.
Yeah,
but of course, you start talking about energy consumption, and when we had last week, of course, COP26 in Glasgow, where all world leaders came together and to start discussing on the climate change. And I think real estate is waking up also on what we can do.
Absolutely.
And probably one of the first steps is, of course, to do something with energy consumption. But when you do that, do it smartly and do it wisely, and then you need to have these value cases to really do the right things. Is that the right thing to
absolutely say? And I agree. I mean, if you think about it, if you know that what spaces or what let's say floors of the office spaces are occupied, or how many people there are, obviously you can easily make this kind of changes to the building automation from optimization from the building on, because the same thing, for example, if you think about energy consumption, or if you are thinking about cleaning, I mean, it makes no sense to heat or cool the spaces that are not being used. It makes no sense to actually clean the spaces that are not being used. I mean, if you think about going back to the start of the COVID time, when everybody just went working for remotely, I mean, but still you were cleaning up the whole office space, even if there's been only 20% of the desk has been used. So this is kind of the things that what do you need to, but if you don't have data to back it up, I mean, that's kind of the, there's not too much that what you can do. I mean, it's just a gut feeling that what do you have.
So it starts by collecting data out of your buildings and bringing that to a platform. Haltian, is that going to talk with all platforms? Are you able to get all the data out of all different kind of sensors? How is it working?
Yeah, I mean, yes, obviously, I mean, we know that there are already multiple things that are measured and what the data has been collected. So yes, it makes no sense for us to actually insert additional sensors or additional hardware there. But at the same time, that would also need, in my opinion, what it requires is that we actually open up the ecosystems. For example, if it's a lighting fixtures, or heating systems or BMS systems. So it needs to be opened up and having a really good interactions and interfaces to support this data transmission and having this data from the different sources.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think so too. Well, where do you see it now happening right now? Is it asset managers? Is it property managers? Is it real estate owners that really take the next step? Where do you get the most questions from?
Currently, that's a really good question, because obviously everybody has their different views and kind of a different KPIs that what they want to achieve and what they want to do. Currently, we are seeing a lot of demand, especially when we're talking about employee experience and providing this. It's coming directly from the building tenants. So meaning these kind of a big corporations, so they are really interested in that. But at the same time, obviously, we need to discuss about the building property owners, management, asset management, building owners, building builders, construction companies, and so forth. So, but obviously, currently we are seeing the most questions are coming from us directly from the tenants, from the building users. So they would like to understand that how the let's say the office space, for example, how it's being utilized, what areas, and how they may need to change or optimize the space when they know. But as I said, I mean, if they don't have real-time data or real data, it's only a gut feeling that people are actually going and getting this kind of a feeling that right now the office is full, even if the utilization rate is like 60%. But it could be a reason that you were unable to reserve a meeting room which was closest to you, or you were unable to sit in your own desk, even if there are no own desks anymore. But you were not able to sit next to your favorite colleague. So
you have the feeling that the office is full.
Yes, you get the feeling, exactly. You get the feeling that it's full, even if the occupational data is showing really low numbers.
Yeah. So I had one more question, but I forgot it. That's always happening to me. Yeah. Sometimes. Let me see if I can find it somewhere here. You get a lot of data these days. I remember the question. And of course, we had the pandemic. People are going back to the office. How far are we getting back to the office? Can you see that already happening? Or is it different kind of countries?
It definitely varies by country, and it varies by the culture of the culture of let's say the working culture. So some of the companies are saying that yes, please come in, and they actually have censored the desks. They know exactly what is the utilization rate, or they can actually change the office layout with a digital twin and make some let's say desks unavailable. Yes. But at the same time, we have companies who are saying that hey, you need to make a reservation in advance, let's say 2 weeks in advance, to even consider coming to the office. So this is there are really different many ways of having this kind of a return to the office by companies. So it varies by the company. It varies by the region or by country. But obviously, I mean, if you think about from the Nordics perspective, where we are from, this kind of let's say activity-based working it has been there prior to pandemic already. But at the same time, when we are talking about some let's say conservative companies also in Nordics, we still see that everybody wants to have their own desk, even if you are only going to be there for 1 day or 2 days a week.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Yes.
Then you can share it for sure.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thank you very much again for your insights, Juuso. Have a great time there in Helsinki, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Walter. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Good. Bye-bye. Enjoy your day.
Bye-bye.